Hi everyone, welcome back. In the last video, we created a class. Okay, this class which we encapsulate the value very well. We call it a rectangle class. Now in this video, I'm going to show you how to do inheritance. Okay, inheritance. Now I have got a very wonderful class here, the rectangle class. Now what if I need to have another class called square? Now I know that the square somehow can recycle and use some of these functions inside here, for example to get area, and I'm really lazy to re-implement them. So what I can do, I can have a square extends rectangle. Now the moment you do this, when you create a square, okay, let me show you. Let s equals to new square, we can actually call this set height. Let me do this, set width. Let me set the height as well, and let me see if I can call get area. You can see this class is completely empty, and yet I can call the functions that I inherited, or the square inherited from the rectangle. Yeah, so this is the beauty of inheritance. So you have to remember the keyword is extends. In object-oriented programming language, we call this a superclass, and this is a subclass. Now let's do a little bit more. Now we know that when we create a square, all right, we want it to be like, okay, I'm going to put one side, because we know that all the four sides of a square is going to be simple. It's going to be similar. So let's create a constructor that takes in a value. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to call the super. Now this is super referring to this constructor, all right, of the super class, and we're going to put in the value for excuse me, for the width and the height. Yeah, so this is how we're going to put it in. Now once we are done, let me try to show you. Console.log s.get area. You can see that I got 25 already. So you can see this class is working very well. Yeah, very well. Now of course, this is a very straightforward, simple example of inheritance, but there's actually another issue. What if your user call set width and put a 10 here? What will happen? If you do that, you realize that this is no longer a square, because part of it is width is 10, and the original height, which is we set, was 5, and if you multiply, then you got 50. So you know that this is no longer a square. So how do we solve this problem? Now of course, there's one way that we learned last time, which is we can actually turn this function into private, and this will not be workable anymore. Yeah, cannot run. But usually we don't do this. This is a pretty bad idea, because you have to understand that it is possible that this rectangle class is also being used and called by others. Yeah, so if we set this to private, and then some other things will break. So in order to avoid that from happening, what we can do is we can do what we call overriding. Overriding, which means that you can see I declare this is exactly the same as the superclass. Now when I call set width, okay, let me use set width, it will be easier for you to see. So when I call set width, now it will not call the set width here, but rather this one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a call set width. Let me put a set height as well here. Let's check this out. Now there are going to be a different function. So this guy is not going to able to call the superclass. No, you will call it here. Now let's say I want to still allow the user to change the side, but it's only one side. Yeah, it's only one side needed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that, alright, if you call this function, I'm going to create super dot set width. Now I'm going to say set this value, right? And similarly for the height, I'm going to do this. Now when I call super again, which I'm actually referring to the super class. So I said that, okay, if you give me a value, I'll update that, and that should actually change my square size. And I make sure that I'm changing the width and the height together. So in this case, if you see I run, if I change the width, it will be 100. If I change the height to 3, it will be 9. Yeah, so either you use the width or the height, you will actually get the correct square already. So what you're looking at now, this is what we call function overriding. Yeah, overriding. We override the functions from the superclass. So this is again, you can see our square now. The code is actually much more shorter, and we use quite an amount of things that we have developed in the rectangle class. So now you are looking at, you know, the advantage of inheritance. Now if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. This is a simple code, but it does actually shows the advantage of inheritance. Alright, see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much. Goodbye.